Also, congratulations to Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers, nominated for Gospel Recorded Song of the Year for The Glory Road. Congratulations to all of tonight's nominees from your friends at Billy Blue Records. Billy Blue Records, we're here to play.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2023 IBMA Awards Show. I'm Stan Zadonic speaking for the Boston Bluegrass Union, a proud sponsor of this event. The BBU is working hard to organize our flagship event, the Joe Val Bluegrass Festival. Right now, I can't officially say any more, but I invite you to check our website, bbu.org, and follow us on social media for the latest news. Wish us luck and enjoy the rest of the show.
Hello, I'm Chris Joslin, Executive Director of the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame and Museum in Owensboro, Kentucky, the bluegrass music capital of the world. And I look forward to this week in Raleigh every year, World of Bluegrass and the awards show. And I'm especially excited about all the nominees tonight and the new Hall of Fame inductees this year, our good friend Sam Bush, David Grisman, and the great Wilma Lee Cooper. You know, here at the Hall of Fame, we're essentially storytellers. We tell those stories through preserving artifacts and creating exhibits. We also tell the story of bluegrass through Bluegrass Unlimited magazine and through our video oral history archive and through other video content like my Bluegrass Story television show produced for RFD TV. And we want you to be part of that story as well. So we appreciate everyone in the bluegrass community who points people to Owensboro, Kentucky and the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame and Museum. As I reflect on some of the great Hall of Fame members, I think about an event we had recently here at the Hall of Fame over Labor Day weekend. It was a Hall of Fame homecoming celebration. The musical host was Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers, but it encompassed a night of music with Del McCoury and with Paul Williams. And what a pleasure to see these two great artists collaborate and work together as we celebrate their career and their music. It reminded me of everything that I love about bluegrass music and why I enjoy playing this music. So as I think about the broad landscape of all that we do to live out our mission here at the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame and Museum, the heart and soul of this is the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame permanent exhibit. It encompasses the plaques of all the Hall of Fame members, as well as great artifacts pertaining to Hall of Fame members like Jimmy Martin's guitar, Josh Graves' dobro, one of John Hartford's banjo, and 3 of Earl Scruggs' banjos from his personal collection. So we're telling the stories of the foundational artists of bluegrass music and those who are shaping the music today. We invite you to visit us here at the Hall of Fame as well, and appreciate all that you do to point people to the Hall of Fame as we tell the story of bluegrass music and preserve this great music for the next generation. So again, congratulations, Sam Bush, David Grisman, and Wilma Lee Cooper. And we look forward to continuing telling your story here at the Hall of Fame. We'll see you soon in Owensboro. Enjoy the rest of the awards show.
Welcome back to the 2023 IBMA Bluegrass Music Awards presented by Yamaha. We'd like to take a moment to remember beloved members of our bluegrass community who have passed away since the last time we gathered here.
It's been a tough year for losses in the bluegrass family, including Bobby Osborne and Jesse McReynolds, whose contributions are forever woven into the fabric of our music. To me, Jesse McReynolds was a friend and a hero and a collaborator and a treasured brother of the Grand Ole Opry. He was also a fellow Virginian turned Tennessean, and as the only living original architect of bluegrass music whose cell phone number I had, a reliably reachable inspiration to me. I called him a lot, and Jesse always picked up. He once brought me a fiddle to play on stage at the Ryman Auditorium during one of Old Crow's New Year's Eve broadcasts. It looked like a particularly unique violin, and I played it on Auld Lang Syne. After the show, amidst champagne corks and pot balloons and spent confetti cannons, I handed back his old fiddle. "It sure sounded good, Jesse," I told him. "Well, it probably oughta. It was played at the Bristol Sessions back in 1927 by my grandfather." A couple years later, Jesse opened up for us in Roanoke. The audience was enthralled to see such a Virginia music legend up there, 90 years young and still holding his own with a four-piece band. That night, in front of 2,000 dancing, cavorting fans, Jesse McReynolds delighted us all with song after song, the last of which was Will the Circle Be Unbroken? Well, after the tune, the folks just went nuts, including a woman who tossed a particularly generous brassiere on stage. It landed squarely on the headstock of Jesse's mandolin. He just grinned and he seemed to blush a little, and afterwards he remarked, "Well, boys, I guess I still got it." Until the very end, Jesse McReynolds was more than just a maker of traditional music. With his signature cross-picked mandolin and a career that spanned nearly a century and the globe, Jesse was bound for the stars, and now he's picking up there in that heavenly pasture, so thanks for the music, Jesse McReynolds.
Here to help us honor all the members of our Bluegrass family who have flown, please welcome Grammy-nominated duo, 15-time IBMA Resophonic Guitar Player of the Year, Rob Ikes, and 4-time Guitar Player of the Year nominee, and now Guitar Player of the Year, Trey Hensley.
Gary Adams Sr., Johnny Armsworthy, James Gentleman Jim Bailey, Larry Beagle, Patty Bethune, Troy Shirley Brammer, Joseph Edward Bassard, Bobby Casey, Bill Castle, Treva Crisco, Roy Cobb, Peter Cooper, Tommy Cordell, Billy Burton Daniel, Jeff Craig Davis, Ray Quarles Edenton, Ed Efaw, Arthur Ward Eller, Les Ernard, Ken Fish, Bobby Flesher, Gloria Bell Bernadette Fleckinger, Jerry Fretwell, Junior Grantham, Randy Gray, R.C. Harris, Ed Henry, Peter Hicks, Grady Hockett, James A. Hoffman, Glenn Hoppy Hopkins, Jerry Kearns, Michael Keith, Don Kissel, Jimmy Kittle, Cousin Al North, Mark Kirkendall, Tom Langdon, Les Leverett, Gordon Lightfoot, Dave Long, Raymond Lumpkin, John Miller, Toru Mitsui, Don Mulkey, Bob Mummert, Dudley Murphy, Alan Niederland, Gary Olds, Jim Orchard, Bobby Osborne, Carl Pagter, George Ports, Paul Crespitino, Mark Roy, Molly Royce, Jim Sharpley, David Shattuck, Joel Schiffman, Douglas Sims Sr., Steve Skold, Frank Sullivan Sr., Ron Spears, Roger Sprung, Vernon Buddy Spurlock, Claude Stevenson, Chris Strakewich, Alan Stowell, Margie Sullivan, Pete Sutherland, Billy Sweeney, Shoji Tabuchi, Terry Thacker, Ivan M. Tribe, Eddie Turner, Ian Tyson, Teddy White, Vivian Williams, and Jesse McReynolds.
Travel down to western Kentucky where my parents were born. There's a backwoods old town that's often remembered so many times that my memories are warm. And Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County down by the Green River where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train is hauled it away. And Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County down by the Green River where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train is hauled it away. Mr. Peabody's coal train is hauled it away.
In addition to our Hall of Fame honors tonight, we want to put a spotlight on this year's IBMA Distinguished Achievement Award winners. These artists and entities have helped move bluegrass forward and carry it across the globe, and they were honored at a ceremony earlier today. The 5 recipients of the 2023 Distinguished Achievement Award are the Bluegrass Situation, Tom Ewing, Red Wine, Terry Bauckham, and Carl Goldstein. We'd also like to take a moment to recognize our sponsors for this evening's show. Thank you to Yamaha, Deering Banjos, Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame and Museum, Billy Blue Records, Compass Records, the Boston Bluegrass Union, Artist Works, and BMI.
The IBMA may not have had Wilma Lee Cooper in mind when it established the early contributors category, but few artists fit that description better than she does. Born in 1921, Wilma Lee grew up playing and singing in the Leary family, her family's gospel band, a group good enough to make an appearance at the National Folk Festival in 1938. Not long after that, she married Stoney Cooper, and by the early 1940s, they were performing with their own group, the Clinch Mountain Clan. So Wilma Lee and Stoney Cooper were among the artists who were already making their own music when bluegrass came along. And like many young country musicians at the time, they came under its spell and adapted its sounds and songs to suit their own style. The duo landed at WWVA in 1947 and spent the next 10 years there as stars of one of the most popular barn dance shows in the country, the Wheeling Jamboree. When they weren't on the air, they toured extensively with a crack band that for a time included Uncle Josh Graves on the dobro. By 1957, they made their way up to membership in the Grand Ole Opry, recording for Columbia and then Hickory Records, where they had hits on the country charts. To give you an idea of how wide Wilma Lee and Stoney Cooper cast their net, one was Big Midnight Special, then a popular song in the folk music world, while another was a gospel song, There's a Big Wheel, which me and the Whites recorded in 2007. After Stoney passed in 1977, Wilma Lee carried on with the Clinch Mountain Clan on her own, recording for Rounder and Rebel Records and using then up-and-coming musicians such as Butch Robbins and the late Gene Wooten and Terry Smith of the Grascals. Those records, like her appearances on the Opry, at festivals, and at other shows, featured a mix of songs that included bluegrass classics, favorites from her own songbook, country hits of the day, and, because she was a lady of great faith, wonderful gospel performances. Whatever she sang, Wilma Lee Cooper had a strong voice and a real powerful right hand on the guitar, too. With the passage of time and the passing of generations, it becomes harder and harder to get a feel for the excitement of bluegrass music's early days, and for the determination it took to survive and prosper through the hard times that the pioneers endured. Wilma Lee's enthusiasm, her love for this music, her dedication to sharing it with audiences across the country, and her profoundly expressive creativity have long deserved the recognition we give her here tonight. It's a great honor to be able to induct Wilma Lee Cooper into the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame.
Hello, I'm Laura Orshaw of the Poe Ramblin' Boys, and this year I have the privilege of working at Berklee College of Music on a special project with young women who are pursuing careers in bluegrass, country, and old-time music. It is extremely impactful for them and for me to see Wilma Lee Cooper acknowledged by the IBMA. I'm here to share with you Wilma Lee Cooper's acceptance on behalf of her daughter, Carol Lee Cooper. From Carol Lee. If my mother, Wilma Lee Cooper, were here for her induction into the IBMA, she would be so very grateful to you all who made this happen. She'd be so proud. And as her daughter, Carol Lee Cooper, I'm honored and proud to stand in for her. Our family is so thankful to you. Mother gave so much of her life to her fans, who meant so much to her. She answered every bit of fan mail personally. She knew them and cared for them. Wilma Lee and Stoney Cooper's recorded music has been featured and archived at Harvard University, the Library of Congress, the Kennedy Center, the Smithsonian Institute, and the White House Library. I have a letter from the Library of Congress requesting a missing recording of their song, Walking My Lord Up Calvary's Hill. I also saved a letter from the Smithsonian requesting Wilma Lee and Stoney Cooper bring their entire show to the Smithsonian, which they did. While these are incredible achievements, I can assure you to be honored by the IBMA is something that Mother would have held dear to her heart and treasured. So a big thank you would be in order for sure. Mother was very talented. She not only played her Martin D45 guitars like no one I had ever seen or heard before, she made a fiddle player like my dad, Stoney Cooper, want to play fiddle tunes like Black Mountain Rag and Listen to the Mockingbird, as well as others. I recall when I started playing rhythm guitar with my family, I had to practice for hours and hours on end in order to be able to keep up with those up-tempo fiddle tunes. Until I got in condition, my right arm would ache and ache. Oh, the price we paid to be able to bring good music to all the fans we loved. Mother also played the flogging style banjo really well. They were some of her most requested numbers, and she wrote a lot of their hits. Something you may not know, Mother designed and made all of her costumes. When she came in off the road, she'd wash them, starch them, and iron them. It took her 45 minutes to iron each dress. She was a very hard worker. I guess you can tell I'm very proud of my family for all of the music they lovingly brought to their fans. I could go on and on with stories about my mother and dad, but one memory that stands out in the forefront of my mind is this one. They weren't home much because they were always on the road, but this particular night they were. And I knocked on their door and opened it, and there they were, each of them laying in bed reading their Bibles. I was 13 at the time, and I can't begin to tell you what an impression that made on me for life. Once again, I want to gratefully thank the IBMA for honoring my mother, Wilma Lee Cooper, for all she has contributed to our music industry. We're all so very proud of her. Thank you all. Here to honor the music of Wilma Lee Cooper, please welcome a new generation of bluegrass women pioneers, Sister Sadie.
I'll give you a daisy, a day, dear. I'll give you a daisy, a day. I'll love you until the rivers run still and the four winds we know blow away. Big midnight special, shine your light on me. Big midnight special, shine your ever-loving light on me. Woke up this morning, heard the whistle blow. The jailer said, come boy, it's time to go. Big midnight special, shine your light on me. Big midnight special, shine your ever-loving light on me. Door. Big midnight special, shine your light on me. Big midnight special, shine your ever-loving light on me. Big midnight special, shine your light on me. Big midnight special, shine your ever-loving light on me. Big midnight special, shine your light on me. Big midnight special, shine